Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Chris. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about reality. So, how does that translate into what's going on with precious metals? So, I was thinking yesterday about why precious metals went on such a run last year in the first place. And I don't think that enough people talk about that. I think we just accept that it happened probably because, there was a lot of fear in everything, and when those times come, people turn to precious metals as far as a means of having safety. Stackers, of course, like, have always had that thought. Preppers also have that thought, that as a means of exchange, you could trade precious metals for pretty much whatever you needed if it really came to that. And I agree, like, there is some truth to that. But the fact that silver was the best, actually I think it was silver and gold were the best performing asset classes of last year, and we just take that on its face value, like, yeah, of course, there was a pandemic, we didn't know what was going on, there's a lot of fear. Okay, I can accept that, but what does that mean for what's happening with spot price right now? Does that mean that fear's coming out of the marketplace, that there's more certainty now, that things are getting better? So for me, one of the big things that I tend to have a lot of exposure to and experience with is economics in general, economics and finance. And I know there are people who will disagree, but the economy's been garbage for a long time. I'm not talking about like a year, 2 years. I'm talking about probably the last 10 years. And when I say that, I don't mean, certain asset classes haven't done well, real estate hasn't done well, the stock market hasn't done well. That's not what I mean. What I mean is something big changed in 2008. The entire paradigm of how the economy, how finance, how everything works changed at that point. After the Great Recession, the idea that you could solve pretty much any crisis with an influx of cheap money, of keeping liquidity at near its peak, really changed how people use money. And so I think that's very important to think about when you think about all of these channels that are talking about silver's going to go through the roof. Oh, keep buying into this dip. I mean, I'm going to keep buying because I think again, over the long term, precious metals protect your value. But again, if you're doing it because you think this is like a stock where it takes a dip and then it's going to pop right back up, I think there's a lot more to it. And like I said, a big part of that I don't quite understand yet is really the price jump of last year. We know that there were supply issues. We know all of that. But the other part of that we don't factor in is, again, precious metal prices, especially the spot price, is a manipulated thing. So it really doesn't have any bearing on reality, on how much physical silver there is. It doesn't. And if you understand, that's something that I wish everyone who buys any precious metal, whether it's paper, whether it's physical, whatever, that they really understand that the paper market has no bearing on physical silver. It has no bearing. They can create paper contracts on silver that absolutely does not exist. It may exist inside the ground, but it hasn't been mined. When you know that, then everything else kind of becomes very ambiguous, because it's hard to wrap your mind around somebody making an investment or a contract based on something that doesn't exist. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, all of these things were popping into my head, and it's funny because I was actually walking into Whole Foods earlier, and I was buying groceries, whatever, and I thought about purchasing some of the pizza slices that they had there. So it was like $3.99 for one, or 2 for $7. So I was like, okay. The thing is, I don't really love Whole Foods pizza. I mean, it's okay, whatever. But anyway, I was sitting there thinking, you know what? Look, I could get 2 slices of this pizza that I don't really care for, or I could get a quote-unquote lower quality $5 pizza from Little Caesars, but it's a whole pizza. Like, why am I gonna, is there something that's, am I really that entitled that 2 slices are better, that it's really that much, a great amazing taste that I need to get 2 slices for $7 instead of a whole pizza for 5? No. And then I started thinking about, okay, what if I was at home and I couldn't, didn't have access to get food and I needed a pizza for some reason, whatever. Am I going to give one of these away for a pizza? And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? If I sat there and thought about the value, no, I wouldn't want to do that, right? But hey, let's say, I'm lazy today. Let's say I'm super lazy and someone says, hey, give me one of those Canadian Voyagers and I'll go get you pizza. All right, here you go. I just gave away way more value than what this is going to give me. And this is temporary value. This is going to get eaten and be gone. Whereas this has the staying power. This is going to be around for a long time. This may be around for eternity in some form. And it really made me think, wow, if I took that approach to so many other things in my life in general, how much better off would I be? Not only that, I mean, think about it. Just the fact that I was able to stop myself and say, hey, I don't need those 2 slices of pizza for $7 when I can get a whole one for cheaper. Why would I do that? And again, people will make the argument that, Whole Foods is much more quality and yeah, whatever. I mean, honestly, certain things taste better than others, but the reality is it's pizza. Pizza's pizza. Okay, that's not true. There's good pizza, but you get what I'm trying to say. And I don't think that we stop ourselves and ask ourselves honestly with a lot of things, how much value we're wasting, how much money, actual value. And when I say money, I mean fiat that could be turned into something with actual intrinsic value, like precious metals. Those little things add up to so much fiat over time that you could be putting into something like precious metals. Again, more as a savings than, again, as I talked about yesterday, like an investment. But you're losing out on so much for the temporary value of something like this. This is crap. So there's a little saying about food, either you pay for it on the front end or you pay for it on the back end. I kind of believe that, but you know what? My big thing is with life in general is no one has the crystal ball. You can tell me that if I eat things like this, I'm going to die of cancer or heart disease or whatever the case is. Yeah, I agree. There's some truth there. But you also don't know if I'm going to get hit by a car tomorrow. So, moderation, right? Moderation as with anything. Okay, moderation here too. No one should be going big on precious metals unless you're a multi-millionaire and you just want to throw your money around. And honestly, if you are, I don't think you're doing this kind of thing. I don't think you're buying bullion. I think you're buying either the paper contracts or I think you're buying, giant blocks of 100-ounce, 1,000-ounce bars. I don't think the wealthy dabble in bullion, like small-time bullion, coins or da-da. They might as a hobby if they're into it, but they're not doing it as, they're not doing it with the same implements as the mass affluent or even the regular folks that barely have any money to be doing anything. So as you make your purchases of bullion, ask yourself, like I said, this guy, if someone said, hey, give me this, give me one of the maples for this guy over here. No way. But this guy, which has less value than the maple, but it's still significantly more valuable than this over here, I might throw one of these for one of these. And that's interesting to me because that tells me a little bit of what human nature is and how, if you make the right offer for something and you don't ask for something that's, completely unreasonable, you might get what you want. I was watching a video by Uneducated Economist where he was talking about trading silver for a used vehicle, from one of his friends. And the guy asked him, hey, can I trade you for silver? And the guy was like, yeah, of course you can. Absolutely. And so he traded bullion for his car. Interesting. I don't quite know enough stackers in real life to be able to pull off deals like that. But it really brought home to me that, there is so much more that we're missing out on by focusing so much on stacking and trying to, buy on the dip or get the right stuff or things like that. There's so much more going on that we're just oblivious to because we're so overrun with information and all the other things going on in our lives. So next time you pick up a 1-ounce silver bar, whatever it is, think about what you would give that up for, in real life, as opposed to the hypotheticals. All right, that's it for today. And if you want to know, is there really pizza in there? Yes, there's really pizza in there. Surprise! Take care. See you next time.